Healthy calves equals healthy cows.
Hello from beautiful Somerset in the United Kingdom. Today I'm here with Susie Hann on her farm and we would like to talk about calf feeding. Susie, thank you for having me.
That's okay.
Please, can you introduce yourself and your farm a little bit? What are you doing here on the farm?
Okay, so my name is Susie, work with my husband and my son and other staff here. We are milking 240 pedigree Holsteins. We rear all our own replacement calves and so that's where you came in.
Ah, okay, yeah, very good, very good. So yeah, we can see here you have your calves in hutches. Obviously, what we can see, all the calves are in pairs. Why is that?
That's because our milk buyer, for the welfare standard, insists that we rear them in calves, and actually we think it's better for the calves as well.
What do you see that? What's the...
Because they buddy up, they've got a friend, they stay with that same calf right the way through weaning, through the next stages, and we just feel that they seem to do better in pairs, although it's more work for us.
But have you always had calves outside in hutches, or you had a calf barn, or?
No, we had a barn that was about 80 years old.
Yeah.
When we built the new dairy building, the calves were in that barn. It wasn't fit for purpose. They weren't doing very well. We had disease problems, and then we had a big storm, and it took the roof off the barn. So the calves were a bit exposed, so we had to do something quick. We couldn't build another building quick, so calf hutches was the answer.
Yeah, okay. So then you started with the hutches.
Yeah.
But that's a completely new system of housing calves.
It was for us.
Yeah, yeah. And what are the results? Were the calves doing better, worse outside, or what is?
They've done better.
Yeah, okay.
It's easier to manage, although there's a lot more work for the calf rearer because there's a lot more manual work involved. But the hutches can be cleaned easily, disinfected easily. We can move calves around. If there's one that's not very well, we can move it out into an individual hutch on its own while it recovers. So yeah, the pros for us have been really good.
You're feeding them in bottles. Here in Europe, normally we all use buckets. Do you do this on purpose?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Of course.
We tried buckets. We had buckets on to start with, but we didn't like the non-return valves in a bucket because you can't clean them very easily. You get pipe cleaners and they just don't come clean.
Yeah.
The bottles we already had for new calves, and we'd started them on bottles, and we actually thought, well, why not give them all bottles? They're easier to clean. The teats are easier to clean. You can replace teats nice and quickly. So that was our thinking.
And I've seen also that you're using the black milk bar teats.
Yes.
They're supposed to be a little bit harder to drink for the calves. Is that something you were aiming for?
Yes. They slow the calves down drinking. So they produce more saliva. You'll see a lot more froth when they're drinking, and they fill up, and then they're not still looking for food once they've finished their quota, if you like.
What's your feeding program? What's your feeding plan?
So they are picked up from the cow at 3 days old. They're fed at that point 2.4 litres twice a day, builds up to 4 litres, and then at 2 weeks before weaning they start dropping down on a feed curve.
On the feed curve, are you using the feed curve which is integrated in the MilkTaxi?
Yes.
Ah, okay. So we see here we have the individual numbers on the MilkTaxi, and then you have your calves allocated to that program.
Yes.
Okay. That helps your people to know exactly how to feed calves. So what's the benefit of that?
Well, consistency. Consistency is king with calves, and then it doesn't matter who came along. You drive along with your MilkTaxi. It identifies the hutch. It says, right, I've got 2 calves here. They're 10 days old. They need X amount of milk, and it will then give them that amount of milk.
Yeah,
and then
perfect.
It doesn't matter who comes along.
About your feeding program, what kind of feed do you feed? You're feeding whole milk replacer. What's your?
So we're on whole milk now. We were on milk replacer up till about 3 weeks a month ago, and we switched on to whole milk partly due to the way that the milk buyer has now put restrictions on the amount we can produce and sell.
Okay.
And partly because we've actually been toying with it for a long time, whether it's better for the calves.
So basically, the situation is that for a certain amount of milk, you don't get the full payout. You have a lower milk price, right?
That's correct, yes.
You said you think about feeding whole milk for longer already. So this is now maybe the situation where you make the decision, okay, now we do it. What do you hope to achieve when you feed whole milk?
We've increased the volume that we're putting through the calves. We want them to be strong, healthy, because that is our future.
Right.
So, you know, what we put into them now is going to pay us back when they go up there and start milking for us.
Can you already see a difference or any development differences?
It's early days, but I think the one person who did notice a difference was we sell the beef calves through a scheme, and their buyer comes in, looks at them and tells us if he wants them. And he came in this last week and said they were much better. So the beef calves were, in his view, were doing better on the whole milk. So that's good.
You're pasteurizing the milk as well. So you have a pasteurizer, a MilkTaxi pasteurizer.
That's correct.
Yeah. So, and what's your experience with that? Does that fit in your farm routine?
Yeah, it's fine. Because in the morning, once you finish the feeding, the MilkTaxi goes in, goes through its wash cycle, you refill it, plug it back in, come back in the afternoon, all done, ready to go.
Yeah. Okay, so it's already there waiting for you to be feeding your calves. Why do you pasteurize?
So our main reason for pasteurising is for disease control, welfare. We don't have a high incidence of yonis in our herd, but you don't know if it's rumbling along.
Yeah.
So obviously that's a key one. TB, we're in a very high TB area here.
All right.
So you know, making sure that we give the calves the best possible start without any chance of some TB milk going into the calves. That wouldn't be good. So that's our main reasons. Yeah.
So basically it's insurance just to protect your calves, even if there is not an actual risk, but just to avoid that something is sneaking in, right? I like the Waterdrinkers.
Yeah,
you don't see that very often.
No, well, again, efficiency. You have buckets hanging on there.
Yeah.
You've got somebody has to go around, scrub them out, refill them.
Yeah.
At least once a day. So there were two things. We thought, well, actually, we're chucking an awful lot of water away, and water is expensive.
Yeah, of course.
And also, you're paying somebody, you know, labour to do that, and they could be doing something else.
A MilkTaxi is a technical product.
Yes.
You need to rely on this product.
Yes.
Who helps you out when it's not working?
Our good friends at Rumitechs are on the phone or on the WhatsApp, or I mean, they're brilliant. So as soon as, if we have a breakdown or if we have something, we can talk it through. If it's something we can manage for a day or so, then it's not urgent. But if it's something that needs doing there and then they're here.
Yeah, very good. So it's always good to have somebody to rely on.
Absolutely. You've got to. With technology, you need to.
Susie, thank you very much for this very interesting interview. Thanks for having me. If you like to see more interviews like this, follow us on our YouTube channel. We'll have more for you. Thank you very much.